welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. I want to read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice. Not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Good morning, Sue here. Hope you had a nice weekend, especially if you're a dad. I hope you enjoyed your Father's Day on Sunday. So let's get into our video today. We always start off with a look at the Russell Index. We always want to make sure that before we put any fresh charts forward, we're putting them forward in a rising market environment. And for that, we use the Russell Index, specifically the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000. And we step back to take a look at it on the bigger time frame, the 5-year monthly. I really value multiple time frame analysis, and I think looking at the monthly charts is really important, especially when we're closing in on the end of a month like we are here now in June. So we've been keeping an eye on this wedge up here. This blue line is our more long-term area of support and resistance. These are monthly candles. You can see the candle that thrust us up into this area. And we've been really paying attention to this wedge pattern that's been shaping up lately. So we've noted that the candle for the month of May was a red one. Some weakness came in after a series of candles that sort of reflected sideways price action, really no direction. When the market gets up to this black line here, it seems to kind of fade in strength. So we're right up against that area here right now, so we'll see what happens, whether we push through and this is just a consolidation and a continued uptrend, or whether that candle for the month of May was a warning and this ends up being a red candle. We will see. I'm going to move it away from the monthly to the 1-year weekly. And here's that same orange line. Here's that same black upper line of resistance. We can see that it ran into that resistance here in the month of February. Sold off, floated back to the orange line again in April, and here we are right here right now. So several weeks ago we had a candle that had the body was right in the middle with a wick at the top and a wick at the bottom. Last week we had a red candle, so we'll see price action this week will be pretty important. I'm going to move it to the smaller time frame, the daily, so we can see that overall price on the Russell's trading sideways, but it's currently up and over the 8-day EMA. So I will be putting I'm going to actually go back and review an old chart that we had put forward earlier. But futures are looking a little soft this morning, so I'm going to be watching to see whether we can see some follow through on this candle yesterday or whether we start to fade here. Be keeping a close eye. And so the chart we're featuring for our watch list today is actually an old Chart of the Day Cafe pick, but it looks interesting here, so I'm just going to refresh the information on it. And that company is Scott's Miracle-Gro, ticker symbol SMG, trades on the New York Stock Exchange. Scott's Miracle-Gro was featured on Chart of the Day Cafe in July of 2015. We're looking at the monthly chart. It's had a beautiful run since then. But before I get into it too much, I just want to tell you a little bit more about the company. Scott's Miracle-Gro is in the chemical fertilizer space. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. It's a garden supply company, lawn care products. They also sell to professionals. So Scott's Miracle-Gro is in my marijuana basket because it would make sense that they, as a supplier to things that grow, would do well in the environment of a rising marijuana stocks environment. Hope that makes sense. You know that at Chart of the Day Cafe, it's all about value, and despite the run up in the chart since we first put it out, Scott's Miracle-Gro still has a nice value score. Second thing I look for is growth, and Scott's Miracle-Gro has a current forecasted earnings growth rate of 12%. Third thing I look for, it's not a must like value and growth, but it's a dividend yield, and in this case it's there. The current dividend yield for Scott's Miracle-Gro is 2.25% and the PE is 20.64. So with that, let's get into the chart. I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 1-year weekly. And you can see that last week we had this nice looking bullish orientation candle with rising volume. Price is moving up and over the 8-day EMA on the weekly chart, so I like the look here. Let's move it into the 6-month daily, and I look at that volume and that really nice strong bar. If Scott's Miracle-Gro can stay up and over this area, interesting. So like the way this chart's looking. You know what Chart of the Day Cafe? It's all about price being up and over the blue 8-day EMA. So I'm going to put it on that study, the 3 and the 8. We look for the 3, which is the pink line, crossing over the blue and price moving higher. So I see an area of support here for Scott's Miracle-Gro. We'll see if it can stay above that area, but if it does, I think this chart looks pretty interesting here. Whenever we feature a name for our watch list, we also like to take a look at the sector that it's in, and for that we're looking at IYM, which is the ETF for the basic materials sector. 2-year weekly chart, you can see that it's in this beautiful uptrend. It consolidated for a while up here on the weekly and is looking interesting in this area. I'm going to move it away from the weekly to the 9-month daily, so you can see that consolidation, the move higher. It's up and over the 8-day EMA and staying with that level of support. We will see what happens going forward. We also like to look at seasonality for our watch list picks, and for that we go to equityclock.com. Here is the seasonal chart for Scott's Miracle-Gro. You can see that it comes into a period of seasonal favor at this time of year, and it lasts through the back half of the year. No guarantee that happens this year, but always nice to know. Also like to go to FinViz and see if we've had a recent downgrade or upgrade. You can go to FinViz yourself. It's a little mixed. We had a recent downgrade from buy to hold, but for the most part, the recent analyst remarks are positive. I know Cramer likes Scott's Miracle-Gro. I'm going to include a little clip from about a week ago. Cramer, you know how he is. He's all about Scott's Miracle-Gro. So I will include this little clip from Cramer. So Analyst Support, I'll leave that box unchecked. There are also a slew of really great articles here on FinViz. Let me see if I can swap over to that area and get it into my frame. Again, it can be considered a pot stock because they're a supplier to the marijuana industry. Anyway, lots of great articles here. I would encourage you to go read some of them. And so let's go back and check the boxes for Scott's Miracle-Gro. We started our video today with a look at the Russell Index, and we know that the Russell overall is in an uptrend. Having said that, it's been trading sideways for the last several months. Price is currently up and over that 8-day EMA, but we note the candle for the month of May was red. We don't want June to be red, so we're being extra vigilant here. We looked at the sector that Scott's Miracle-Gro is in, the materials sector. IYM was the ETF we looked at. It's in an uptrend on the 5-year chart and possibly lifting off an area of support. Scott's Miracle-Gro in an uptrend on the 5-year chart and at an area of possible price continuation. It's got a good value score. It's got a good growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate currently of 12%. Current dividend yield of 2.25%. It has a 3 and 8 cross. It has seasonality. I'm not checking the analyst support because it's a little mixed, although Cramer likes Scott's Miracle-Gro. And we noted on the chart it's coming into an area. Should it get up and over this next area of resistance on the chart, then its sky is blue. There's no overhead resistance after that. Now we were looking at the monthly time frame for that. Current PE is 20.64, and it looks as though earnings are on August 2nd. Thanks for watching, and as a reminder, these videos go out every Tuesday and Thursday morning. I do my very best to screen for great looking value and growth charts sitting at interesting areas of support. If you go back and take a look at Finisar, Celgene, Google, Facebook, Pfizer, they all did pretty well. So it's worth keeping an eye. With that, I'll leave you. We'll put our next video out on Thursday. Have a great rest of the week.